They do call 911.
This takes forever.
Oakland is failing to meet the state standard to adequately respond to 911 calls, and the ABC 7 News I-team found out new data shows the problem is only getting worse. Good evening. I'm Amma Gates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. Thanks for joining us. The problem is so bad it's threatening access to critical funding.
Yes, Stephanie Sierra has been following this, and she's here tonight with more. Steph.
Yes, Amma and Dan, new data shows Oakland not only has the worst 911 dispatch response here in the Bay Area, but the worst in the entire state. People in life-threatening situations are telling us they're being left on hold for 10, 20, even up to 30 minutes in some cases.
What's the emergency?
Oakland's 911 system is reaching a new breaking point.
911 would even pick up.
Failing residents not once or twice, but tens of thousands of times. That's according to new data analyzed by the ABC 7 News I-team. Whether it's people calling to report human trafficking operations.
And nobody do nothing.
Says this owner of an East Oakland auto body shop who's tired of being left on hold.
It's the same problem.
Or residents attacked and robbed at gunpoint, stuck with a busy signal.
That's ridiculous. Oakland is no longer Oakland anymore.
The stories go on. OPD's 911 center receives more than 500,000 calls each year. According to a recent civil grand jury investigation, the city's emergency communications center failed to answer about half the calls within the state's requirement of 15 seconds. That needs to happen 90% of the time to be in compliance.
But if we would have the support.
For example, Jesus Pelayo told the I-team he had to wait more than 20 minutes to reach a 911 operator as his friend was having a heart attack.
It's unbelievable, but it truly happens.
Pelayo says he had to rely on people calling 911 in neighboring cities to get his friend help.
So it's very difficult. It's very hard.
And he's not alone. The state has threatened to withhold funding to Oakland if the city fails to improve its 911 response times within a year. That's according to this letter from the California Office of Emergency Services, sent in July. That was more than 6 months ago, and the response times have only gotten worse. Data obtained by the I-team shows the average time it took for a dispatcher to answer a 911 call in 2020 was 28 seconds. This year, that figure is nearly double at 55.8 seconds, and that's not accounting for the hold time.
There are times when folks are hanging on 911 for 30 minutes or longer, and we're talking about real emergencies.
Preston Turner works for Oakland City Councilman Noel Gallo. He says he hears dozens of complaints like this every week.
Too many to count.
According to a recent Alameda County grand jury report, the city's emergency communications center is not well prepared for a major disaster and lacks a disaster recovery plan. The city agreed with this finding. So what's actually being done about it? In September, Mayor Sheng Tao announced,
"We are also preparing a major upgrade to our computer-aided dispatch system, we all know this as the CAD system, which this will help connect responders to the scene of a call."
The grand jury report also found OPD's CAD software, supplied by Motorola, is 20 years old, and the technology the city purchased in 2018 was never implemented. Now city officials worry it's too late to even use it, since Motorola recommends making major upgrades to their technology every 5 years.
That money was supposed to go to technology upgrades.
So did it? Or was that 2018 investment wasted? The I-team asked the mayor's office about this, but staff could not provide us with a direct response. They also could not clarify if any upgrades have actually been completed. We did, however, receive the following statement from Mayor Tao saying, quote, "Oakland's hardworking 911 dispatchers need more support to ensure they have the resources they need to answer dispatch emergency calls in a timely manner."
We have also taken steps to harden our phone system against future power outages, like we saw this past summer.
But Councilman Gallo says the problem is back.
But even last Friday, I came to my office and the phones weren't working. This phone wasn't working, or my emails weren't there.
This points to concerns over the lack of IT investments.
It's really important that we make sure that our 911 system, our 911 dispatch system, has the state-of-the-art, best technology available.
A process Councilman Dan Kalb says is long overdue. Since 2020, the grand jury has been told the rollout date for this critical software and hardware update would be in another 6 months. But this report says that still needs to be implemented and personnel still needs to be trained. The delay in implementing this software is impacting the ability for dispatchers to map locations of incidents requiring a response in real time so they can direct calls to police.
We want to undo the cycle of, if we're short-staffed, they're working overtime, and that creates a lot of pressure, and therefore they want to kind of find somewhere else to go.
And Kalb says the recruitment has been overlooked.
A new report shows 1,000 dispatcher applications were not processed from April of last year to April of this year.
It's inexcusable now, so now we're trying to catch up.
According to an email obtained by the I-Team, OPD has budgeted for 76 dispatcher-related positions, but to date, there are still 14 vacancies. And the victims dealing with it hope those mistakes stop.
That's a change that we wait for.
Now, speaking of changes, the mayor says she's working on recruiting new dispatchers and taking steps to retain veteran dispatchers. 4 were hired last month, and we know of 11 that are currently in training. As for the HR mishap, we're told a continuous hiring system has been implemented to prevent that from happening again. So a lot to keep following here.
Maybe as we always say in an emergency, minutes, even seconds count.
Yes.
Absolutely.